Hello, my name is Brian Schoening. The project that I worked on this semester, or over the course of the 2 semesters, I guess, that I wanted to share with you guys was introducing self-observation and swivel lessons into our high school. This is basically the exact same slide that I presented to excuse me, our staff as we did this in our staff development day. In the past, obviously every school does their observations, and these are pretty common across the board, but at Sydney High School we've done our yearly observations. That's twice yearly for non-tenured teachers, once for tenured teachers. Those are formal observations where you know it's coming. You have this scheduled in advance for your administrator to come in and sit through your entire 47-minute class period and just observe absolutely every aspect of your class. Disadvantage to that is you know it's coming, so maybe you prepare a little bit harder for those lessons than you do other lessons. There's a form that the administrator will fill out as you go through that process, and then you will discuss that lesson later. A walkthrough is unannounced, which I personally believe is great because you can go in and the teacher's not expecting you, so they didn't have time to prepare extra. It just gives you a really good idea of how students react to a certain teacher and how well their tactics are working inside their classroom. And there is a form we fill out on Google that is shared with us and with the teacher about those walkthroughs, just tactics that they use and whatnot. And then we have walk-bys, which are just as we roam through the hallways as administrators, just peek in the classrooms and kind of see how well tactics are working that are being used in the classroom. Why self-observe? A big question that was brought up about self-observation when we discussed that this is what we were going to go with was, I don't like to watch myself, okay? Which a lot of people don't, understandable. But it's very advantageous for us as educators to be able to go back and watch our lesson as we produced it. Watching yourself can change what you think about your tactics, whether that's good or bad. You might find some good things that you like that you're doing, and you might find some bad things that you want to change. You may find you dislike doing things how you're doing them. Maybe your questioning is a little bit off. Maybe students aren't responding well to the style of teaching that you're presenting them. Maybe there's certain kinesthetic students that need more activities or a little more group work. Maybe some students don't respond well to the certain groups that they're in. Maybe the seating isn't correct. Maybe there's all sorts of different things that you might want to change. Maybe your delivery of the lesson, I guess. Lots of things that you might want to change that you can see through a video that you might not always catch standing up in front of a classroom actually presenting that lesson. It's a good opportunity to try new things and review them. Throw different tactics out there each day. Maybe you're trying things that you've never done before as far as activities. You're getting outside of the classroom. You are doing different questioning techniques as far as maybe you're just going down the row, maybe you're drawing sticks, whatever that be. Just trying new things and viewing from an outside eye kind of how those work. You can assess how your students respond to a certain style of teaching. Like I said earlier, kinesthetic, you got your auditory or visual learners. Maybe you see something in a student that you've never seen before. You may find that you love doing things the way you're doing them. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and bet that not everybody's going to find something that they or are not going to see that they do everything in a way that they like. There's always going to be something you're going to want to change or a way you can make yourself better. But maybe it confirms a certain process that you go through in your classroom for each lesson. In terms as maybe you do your warm-up questions review, and then you get started in your lesson, and then you have individual work time or group work time and homework, just general form of a lesson. And maybe you like how you do that, or maybe you want to switch it up. Maybe you take too much time on certain things. Just confirming, I guess, things that you see as a positive for student engagement and student learning. It could help you with your timing. That's always a challenge for, mostly I see it in our younger teachers. Just how long to take on certain things. Maybe you got to just move on, or maybe you got to back up and review things with certain students, or for the entire class. Maybe it would take a video like this to be able to see that you don't allow enough wait time when you're asking questions for students. That goes into class structure and your speed of your lesson as well. Just how well does it all flow? Do you end it in the right places? Do you ask the right questions? Do you offer the proper wait time? Are you doing a short review at the end? And maybe it's just a couple minutes, but some sort of review. Okay, or are you running out of time? Okay, that's a good way to check your timing. Okay, expectations for this. Okay, and this is exactly what I told our staff when I presented this. Each teacher will self-observe once each year, preferably in the first semester, obviously, so that gives you a longer amount of time to be able to adapt your new ideas and things like that. You'll be expected to use a swivel, which we'll talk about a little bit later. It's a great tool. I'll brief you on it in a little bit. Okay, and you will be expected to fill out and submit a self-observation form, and I ask that you be critical of yourself. The best way to professionally develop yourself, whether that's as an educator, administrator, coach, some other job outside of education, whatever it be, is just to be critical of yourself. Don't come in thinking, oh, I do everything good, the students are fine, whatever. Be critical of yourself and try to find things that you don't do as well as you think you could. So here's our self-observation form. Scroll down here, you got your name and your subject. Okay, effective practices here at the top. It says list strengths observed and areas of improvement you feel are important for your growth. Okay, this is where you're going to put in, this is what I do, I really like it. I'm not going to change this so much. I think it's working well for students. It keeps them engaged. I think gives them the best opportunity to excel in this lesson. Okay? Foundational knowledge, just deciding, did I know what I was talking about in this lesson? Do I know my students individually? Do I know what type of learners they are? Do I know how they react well to questioning? Do I know how they react well to each other? Do I know how they react to myself? Things like that, just being effective, okay, and understanding that you know what you're talking about, I guess. Planning and preparation. I would suggest as you go through this, you don't be like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to do it this day, so I'm going to really prepare myself. Do this on a random day where you haven't really thought about it, and all of a sudden you pull it up. You know what? I'm going to look and see how well today goes. Okay? Did your lesson plan out like you expected it to? Did you have to alter from that? Were you prepared for class? Did you have all your supplies? Things like that. The learning environment. Was it a good learning environment? Were students engaged? Was there distractions outside of class? Just all around, what was the feel of your overall learning environment? Oops. Instructional strategies. Okay. Were we ensuring that student growth was the main thing that we're trying to promote, I guess? Were we using all sorts of instructional strategies as far as questioning techniques, reaching out to our different styles of learners? Was our main focus on the students and what we could do for them to help them make themselves better? Assessment. Were you constantly assessing yourself? Or, assessing your students? Were you constantly questioning them, maybe not all the time formative and summative. You're not going to see that in every single lesson necessarily. But were you asking questions of all students? Were all students engaged? Was each student being questioned? And were you assessing that and being able to work backwards if needed to be able to go back and answer questions that they didn't understand? Professionalism. Did you act professionally towards the students? Maybe a staff member came in. Did you act professionally towards them? Professionally dressed? Using that professional terminology to help our students excel. Things along those lines. Vision and collaboration. Okay, does the teacher contribute and promote the vision of the school? Okay, our mission statement here at Sydney Public Schools is empowering students with the skills, attitudes, and knowledge to become productive citizens. Were you working towards that vision? Okay, were you doing everything you could for the students, each and every one of them, to help them become successful? Okay, maybe that's inside of school or outside of school, but in some way, is this lesson designed, and did you help students become successful for the future? And then the last one is local district standards. Obviously, you got to meet your state standards. That's expected anyways. So I would imagine that that's probably planned in already in the lesson plans, and you shouldn't have to look at that so much, but maybe self-assess that a little bit as well. But we have some other programs as far as ACES, which is All Children Experience Success, and we have some different things that go along with that, and that's a whole nother topic. But were you working towards that? Were you helping students experience success, even the challenging ones, even the ones who don't want to be here? Were you doing all those little things for each and every student? Hey, were you working your Madeline Hunter, Hollingsworth, and Marzano strategies? Hey, things like that. Okay, backing up here. Hey, a little bit about this swivel. The swivel is a great tool. It is, I think that's on the next page. It's a robotic device that follows its remotes. It allows for 360-degree video along with sound. And I actually have an extra one here. I'm using one right now. But I have another one here. So it's this robotic tool. It swivels here. You got your remote, which I'm actually wearing behind my tie, so it's not even that noticeable. Okay, and what it allows you to do is you can take this thing, and it's fantastic for self-observation, because as I hit a button, it will follow me all the way around the room. Okay, as I walk, it just follows. Great for teaching, videoing lessons, and all sorts of different things. So I can go 360 degrees walking around the classroom, and it's just going to follow me here. Okay. You can place this anywhere in your classroom. I would suggest in a corner so you can see the whole classroom. Okay, but obviously, as you can see, it doesn't necessarily matter. But if you place it in a corner, then it makes it a little more little easier for it to see the whole classroom. Okay, so you can see the whole classroom. You can observe all your students at once, things like that. Now the nice thing is you can connect multiple remotes to one device. You can connect multiple devices to one remote. However you want to do that, and you can have all sorts of different angles of your teaching as well. And this will be expected on our self-observations. Okay, extra uses besides self-observation in the classroom. When you're gone, you can create a lesson in advance. You can video your lesson for students to review later if needed. I've had a lot of students go in and utilize my videos on YouTube when they're following their notes and they get stuck and can't remember why we did a certain thing. So they can go back in, watch the video, and have my commentary on why we did that. Students who are absent have the exact same access to the information that students did at school. So they have the exact same video, you video it during the lesson, and they have that exact same thing. And ability to create very in-depth class websites with many resources. You can use this to do all sorts of activities, lessons, things like that. Okay. Benefits, mostly of the self-observation, but a little bit of the swivel as well. Okay. Your self-observation is going to help you provide the best teaching strategies for the students. You're going in, you're assessing, what did I do good, what did I do not so good. I'm not going to say bad, but maybe there's some things you need to improve on a little bit. And we're doing that for the students. Okay, so it helps us. It may take a little extra work, but it's going to be worth it in the end for our students. You do need to be able to be critical of yourself, and this will help you learn to do that if you're not already. Okay, it will help you be a better professional. It will help you be a better teacher. It will help you do anything better if you can just be critical of yourself. Go in with an open mind and be willing for some change to make yourself better and to help our students out. It will help solidify your beliefs in what you do inside your classroom. Not everybody's going to go in and just knock on themselves the entire time. You're going to find a lot of things that you do that you really, truly do great. That's why we're in this profession, is because we know how to get points across. We know how to teach students. We know how to do things like that. You're going to go in there and you're going to watch these videos and you're going to be like, man, I really like that. I'm going to keep doing that. You're going to provide your maximum resources for students. That's a little bit self-observation and the fact that we're going to use the swivel for it. And we're going to help our students who are absent have access to the same content and strategies that other students had with that swivel device. Thank you, and I look forward to all your comments and questions on our forum. Thanks.